Nation, let's celebrate. Yo, what's up, Nation? It's a beautiful day. We're going to celebrate. I got some of my guys coming in here shortly. Big Mike's going to be here. Severe's going to be here. I believe Pharaoh is going to join us as well. But yeah, let's get into it. Today, we officially hired Antonio Pierce to take over our head coaching position. We removed the interim tag. He's the guy. I believe last I checked, we're still waiting on the GM decision. It sounds like it's Champ Kelly, but something's holding it up. I don't know. Maybe discussing pairing Ed Dodds with him. I hope so. That'd be beautiful. All right. So it's been a tumultuous wait. The us as the nation, we're fucking waiting. We're sick of the wait. The players are getting sick of the wait. They're becoming angsty. It's just been, it feels like it's taken a lot longer than it should. But you know what? Mark Davis didn't disappoint this time. He made the right move, and AP is the guy. Joining us now is my guy, Severe Raider.
What's going on? What's going on?
What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? I'm gonna let people know, man. Look, this show's not for the faint of heart, all right? It's off top. It's not for the faint of heart.
Oh man,
I'm gonna say some things.
Did you bring the wet blanket with you?
No, not necessarily wet blanket. I'm not necessarily wet blanket. I agree with the hire. I think this was the right move, but there's some things that's gonna be said that people aren't gonna like. So just let them know off top.
Okay.
Off rip.
Okay. I can't wait. Waiting for Mike to join us. Is Pharaoh still coming?
Yeah. I just shot Pharaoh the link too, so he should be hopping on too, man. But yeah, man. It's exciting times in the nation. We still gotta figure out what we're doing at GM. I mean, I don't know what kind of hierarchy we're gonna have there. I know it's basically between Dodds and Champ Kelly. You would assume that Champ Kelly would be the guy that gets the nod. He's been sitting in all the head coaching interviews or the fake interviews. Like, we didn't hire any serious candidates. Like,
no, nobody came in that even had a shot at the job.
Yeah, and nobody's beating Leslie Frazier's door down to bring him in as head coach, man.
Low key, how would you feel if all of a sudden they announced Leslie Frazier's been hired as head coach of the Raiders?
Bro, that would have been wild, man. If we would have hired Leslie Frazier as defensive coordinator, I'd be okay. If Patrick Graham leaves, I'd be okay. Maybe I can see that.
Horrible. I can
see that.
I'd be sad as hell if Patrick Graham left, but I mean, Leslie Frazier's a solid coordinator.
Yeah. So I think Leslie Frazier's solid. I mean, he's a former head coach in the league. I think he does a good job as a coordinator. So, but I don't know if Patrick Graham is coming back, man. I don't know if Patrick Graham is coming back.
I think it's a foregone conclusion.
I don't know if he's coming back. And what makes me what I think is that the Raiders, I don't think they handle things properly, is that a team requested to interview him for the DC job and they blocked it after saying that you were kind of free to go ahead and pursue other avenues. And then, we let Carmen Bracillo go interview for the job with the Giants. And then, a team, I think it was the Jaguars that came and asked about Patrick Graham at DC, and we blocked it after we said everybody to kind of go out and do their own thing. Now, the head coaching interviews we couldn't block because that's a promotion, so there's nothing we could do about that. So all the head coaching interviews he's receiving. I think he had one in Seattle. I forgot where else he had. He had another one as well. Did he have one with San Diego as well? Did he? I know
Patrick Graham, I think AP did.
AP had one with San Diego. Okay, I thought
think
it was
the Chargers brought in AP for their head coaching position.
Okay, so yeah, so it's so I know for sure Patrick Graham interview with Seattle. So I doubt if he gets that job. But I think that there's a chance that he does get hired. I mean, it's a lot of competition out there for head coaches right now. So that's the only reason.
I really don't see a spot for him as a head coach anywhere.
Yeah,
it would make any sense as of right now. Nothing like, especially with the guys you got out there still waiting for jobs.
Yeah, it'll be tough because Evero Edgero, the guy from Carolina, I think he's a guy that's been kind of waiting in line for a while. He people thought he would get head coaching consideration after what he did with Denver, and now so now he's a guy that's on the board. I've been telling people. I think I told you and Big Mike months ago about my boy Bobby Slowick.
You did.
I put that on record. Like Bobby Slowick is the guy that's gonna get.
You've been hitting lately, man. You've been hitting on these patients.
Yeah, Bobby Slowick is a guy, man. If we didn't hire AP, and Pharaoh kind of brought this up where Bobby Slowick isn't a Mark Davis guy. Mark Davis, he's always gonna go big game hunting. And I don't think, and if AP didn't put up, and even after AP, did what he did with the team, and he had all the legends and all the players on the team saying, "Hey, we want this guy." Mark Davis still had to be like, but he's not.
It's like Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't have hated Vrabel, right?
I wouldn't ultimately. I would have been upset just for the fact that AP is like Mike Vrabel.
Yes,
but as just having Mike Vrabel as head coach, I'd have been like, well, fuck, if it's not AP, I'm fine.
He's a guy that's led I think he's won the AFC title, AFC conference title, I want to say twice. He's been coach of the year before. I think he has playoff wins. So, I mean, I think it's one of those situations where if it wasn't AP, like we could have resurrected Tom Walsh or Bill Walsh and, like put a modern brain in his body and people be like, but it ain't AP though. It ain't AP. So,
Big Mike.
Yo, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, Big Mike? Big Mike, man. I caught your show earlier, man.
Hey, it's a celebratory occasion.
Man, it's a celebration.
He's got the cigar.
I can't spark it up though in the garage though. Wife get pissed off at me.
Man, I know. I mean, you said earlier.
Open that garage door.
I think I might. Nah, that'll make too much noise. I'll keep it cool. Man, some good news today, man. Some good news.
Yes, sir. Severe said he's got some stuff to say that's gonna rub people the wrong way.
Rub people the wrong way, man. That's it. I'm saying.
Go ahead and say it.
I'm gonna say it, but I'm like this. I support the hire. I just don't support. It's a certain sentiment in Raider Nation right now that I don't appreciate. I think this has turned into a cult of personality thing, where it's like people I've literally had arguments with people saying it was Antonio Pierce that put Patrick Graham in the booth. I'm like, bro, I have documentation. He's been in the booth the whole year. Like, no, he wasn't. That was all the AP. If it wasn't AP, like, so I don't want it to turn into a situation where it's like, we start. It's a comparison I want to make. I'm not going to make.
I think you just gotta wait, man.
Yeah,
you gotta wait. Yeah,
I think early. Yeah, you know what I think it is, man. I think is for you. I think you want everybody to get their due credit, and I think for you, you want to give Patrick Graham more credit than you want to give him his credit that he deserves, and you feel like he's not getting the credit that he deserves. That I feel where you're coming from with that one.
I feel it's a situation where people like AP. Like it's a I'm in a leadership position. I work in recruiting. I'm also I also manage pharmacy and retail operations for a big retailer. So there's something called the halo horns effect, and with that, and that's what every time you're going through like applications or you're interviewing people or you're doing reviews, like you don't want to be like, I like this person, therefore they're qualified. You have to learn how to separate those things, right? So if they're like, or this person is competent in this area, so that means they're great in all these other things. That's not the case. You have to judge each thing individually. So he may be a great communicator, but he's not necessarily a great like worker. So maybe his spot, he shouldn't fit in this area. I should put him over there. And you have to learn how to separate those things. But some people get it to where like, oh, he's a great communicator. He's great at this. So he's great at everything. And I don't think people learn how to like separate those things.
No, I feel you. You know what? I completely understand that, right? I think what Antonio Pierce is that he's shown leadership wise that he should be the head coach. He deserves to be considered for a head coach, and he fits that job description perfectly with us and only us. Exactly. We're unique in that sort of way. Yeah. Anywhere else, he wouldn't be a head coach. Now, as far as meeting that whole criteria of everything that you're looking for in a head coach, I think that Antonio Pierce knows that he is kind of shortchanged. He knows that. And that's what's great about him is that he shows humility as well, that he's going to call up guy A, B, and C to come in and bring in and help him out, become that coach that can be that elite guy down the line. We also hired a Marvin Lewis to kind of help him, ease him in the way to be that head coach. Marvin Lewis was a great head. Not a great head coach. He was a solid head coach.
Yeah, he was good. He was a good head coach.
He was a solid head coach with the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. He put the Bengals on the map. Now they would get to the playoffs and be one and done. But he was considered one of the top head coaches at some point in the league when he was around. So he's bringing in guy A, B, and C to kind of help him ease that blow of being kind of shortchanged in certain areas. And the fact that he's doing that and he's showing humility, like, okay, I don't have all the answers. I'm going to bring in these guys. That says volumes to me as well, the type of person he is, what type of leader he is as well. So that goes a long way for me too. But I do understand where you're coming from, that you want to see a full body of work and picking the right guy based on the full body of work, not just because we like a guy. I get where you're coming from, and I see that might be a concern for you. But I think the Raiders got this one right in this situation.
I agree. And like you said, it's not necessarily, is he the most qualified for the job? Not necessarily, but is he the right fit for this job and this culture? It seems to be so. Like, I think he said it himself. Did he deserve the job? Maybe not, but he earned the job. And that's what it's all about. He put his resume on grass, as he likes to say.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely. Now, I like you were just saying about Marvin Lewis coming in, and they haven't exactly dictated to us what his job title will be. What do you guys think the chances are of him actually being like our offensive coordinator or something like that?
Our coordinator? Nah, I don't. I mean,
I don't think it's likely at this point. I think at this juncture of that guy's career, of Marvin Lewis's career, he needs to be an advisor, sharpening up the youngsters coming up to be the next big defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, head coaches. Yeah. He's going to be that guy to be in the room to kind of advise these guys to make it happen. There's a bunch of players, there's a bunch of coaches that have had their shot to be in those positions, and they've gotten older, and it's almost like their time has expired almost. Yeah. And Marvin Lewis is one of those guys. Now, he can't come back and be a defensive coordinator anywhere, I don't think. Okay. It's the next guy up. That's the way it seems like in the NFL, that it's you had your turn. Now go ahead and advise the young ones who are trying to get their turn.
For sure.
And, that's kind of where I'm at with Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, what do y'all think?
Yeah. What do y'all think the holdup is with the Champ Kelly hire?
I don't know, man. I think Mark Davis is having some real consternation about whether it's Ed Dodds or whether it's Champ Kelly. I think Ed Dodds is a guy that, like, and not to hate on Champ Kelly, but I'm just like he did some good. I think people will point to what he did with Denver. He did some solid things with he does some solid things with Denver, but absolutely nothing the Chicago Bears have done in the draft recently outside of Roquan Smith has impressed me. Like, nothing at all. Justin Fields is a butt. Like
whoa,
people say,
whoa.
He's a bust. He's a bust. He's a
That's
bust.
that's crazy.
He's a bust.
Now,
He's a
a
bust.
new thing you guys can argue about all offseason.
He's a
Nah.
bust. But
You don't
but-
talk about your future quarterback like that, sir.
I'm not talking about Jane Daniels, but anyway.
Hey,
Nah, but Ed Dodds, we see what the Colts have done, right? We see like they lost a top 5 draft pick quarterback who was playing well at the time of him being injured, and they inserted Gardner Minshew, and they made a hell of a run.
Yeah.
So I think that that speaks volumes to the kind of roster that they built there, and I think if he can come over here and do something similar with us, and he's a guy that also got to start here as a Raider. He has those same Raider ties, so like people, it's funny that people will be like, "Oh man, like we got to get AP. AP has Raider ties, but like he never played here, never coached here, nothing, right?"
yeah.
Ed Dodds and Jim Harbaugh, rather, they both like were previously like worked for this organization. Ed Dodds said he grew up a Raiders fan, but I don't feel that same kind of support for Ed Dodds. That is just, and I'm saying like this is stuff I be saying, man. Like people got to keep it consistent.
Ed Dodds doesn't like seem like a Raider is the thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing, man.
And
I don't
you know what? And that's my biggest problem with a lot of people, a lot of fans these days, is that they'll look at player A or person A, and just based on what they think or feel or how they feel about them, they're not a Raider. Like that's a way of losing, bro. That's a loser mentality to me, man. When you say somebody is not a Raider and they haven't, you're just looking off of personality.
Exactly.
For example, a Russell Wilson. Everybody is saying that Russell Wilson's not a Raider. But if you look at it, he was, 1 year, first year under Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton is going to fail his second time around as a head coach. I think he's tanking it up in Denver. I think they're going to stink for the next 5 years. And they made a bad decision bringing in a guy whose his time is past. That's what I'm thinking about with Sean Payton. Now, in terms of him with Russell Wilson, he basically kicked Russell Wilson to the door, out the door with 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, despite not even playing the last 3 games. He was top 10 in touchdowns when it was all said and done at the end of the season. So you telling me that you wouldn't take a guy who was top 10 in touchdowns simply because he's not a Raider? That doesn't make any sense to me, bro.
Yeah, me either, man.
That doesn't make any damn sense to me. So, we really got to stop doing that, oh, he's not a Raider thing, because we can miss out on a lot of pieces that can help us in the long run simply because we're saying he's not a Raider. Now, I will say this in terms of who's going to be the GM. I think they want both. Now, we were talking about that last time we were together. It seems like they kind of want both.
I think it's more likely now.
Yeah, it seems like they want both. They haven't made a decision yet. And I think it's going to be one of the two being in that new field position that Mark Davis is trying to make, because they said that Mark Davis, he's even admitted himself, he's not a football guy. So maybe he needs a guy in between the GM and the ownership to be, kind of oversee like a director of football operations. Yeah. Maybe you put an Ed Dodds in a director of football operations position and then have, Champ Kelly as that GM. So now you got a full team with layers, checks and balances, another, chain of command type of deal to make things more sturdy.
Absolutely.
See, the problem I have there is that if we're going to do that role, I would rather have Marvin Lewis in that role. I don't want a guy that's, because what Mark was saying was that, last time when he first got the ability, after Al passed, he had the ability to hire the first, GM basically in Raiders history. That wasn't Al Davis. Yeah. And, and then we know Reggie, it was Reggie McKenzie who inherited Hugh Jackson. He decided not to bring Hugh Jackson back. And he went out and hired Dennis Allen, who was the coach I did not want to be hired at that time. So it was an issue where basically we have a rookie owner, a rookie head coach, and a rookie GM. And Mark Davis, he's admitted he doesn't know football. So he would like a person that kind of knows football to kind of be that buffer between him and those other roles. But I don't want a guy that's never even been a GM to be director of football operations. I would rather have like that's perfect for a guy like Marvin Lewis, who's been around the block for a while,
Yeah.
who's ran in these circles, who coached for a multitude of years, had some success there. That team drafted relatively well and had success year in and year out. And outside of Vontaze Burfict, they seem to have like a pretty good culture.
Yeah.
So I like even like they even brought in guys like Pac-Man Jones and who became like model citizens once they got there. So I would think a guy like that with that kind of experience would fit that role a little bit better than maybe an Ed Dodge. But I can see Mark Davis saying that, you know what, I like what Ed Dodge is doing with the coach. Let's throw him in that role, and that way I can keep him and keep Champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You know what, man? I guess the key word to this whole thing is checks and balances, right?
Yeah.
Now, you could have a director of operations, right? That oversees the personnel side. Who are you bringing in? Are you fiscally responsible? Are you going to keep your GM fiscally, keep him accountable in terms of being fiscally responsible? Then you have on the other side of that, right? You have the X's and O's guy, the Marvin Lewis, to kind of come in and be like, okay, we're going to be fiscally responsible, but this is the guy, these guys that we're looking at. We have myself, X and O's guy, plus our scout team looking at, the full deal. You put your heads together with the director of football operations and GM. Now you got a full team running on it's like a spoke on a wheel, and you got the wheels turning. So I don't know, man. Sometimes it's more, sometimes, too many hands in the cookie jar is not a good deal. But I think for the Raiders, for stability purposes, we kind of need a lot of hands in the cookie jar. And I think in that kind of situation, it'd be ideal.
Yeah, I think that group of people is just a lot of good football minds to make up for the lack of football mind we have at the top. So
right.
I think it'll work, but I think that's it. You don't bring in anybody else.
Yeah.
Those three guys, if you want to call it three because of Marvin Lewis, kind of working together. And then, man, the only thing left open, if once that's figured out, man, who's the offensive coordinator? It started to really look like Cliff Kingsbury, but then he took the interview in Chicago, and Chicago's got the pick to get Caleb Williams and reunited with Caleb Williams. So it kind of seems like we're on the outside looking in when it comes to Cliff Kingsbury at this point.
Yeah. Now, you know what? I gotta apologize to both of y'all for you guys brought up Cliff Kingsbury. I immediately dismissed it. But I didn't think about, him as an OC. I was thinking about him as
head coach,
former head coach, and now with SC. And I don't really like how SC is being ran these days. I'm not a fan of Lincoln Riley. I'm not really a fan now. Great offense, but sometimes that great offense, like he just seems to be an enabler of a lot of things that the quarterback is doing over at SC. But that has nothing to do with Cliff Kingsbury. More I thought about it, right? So as an OC, I would love to have him as our OC. I think he did wonders with Kyler Murray in that offense when he was there. They had a top 10 offense over there, and I think he would be great as an OC in the NFL. I think he was hoisted too quickly as a head coach in the NFL. He should have never been put in that position that fast. He never had a 10-win season at Texas Tech when he was there. Yeah. So, I think he was hoisted a little bit too quickly, but I think he's cut his teeth enough, has been through enough to where you could safely be like, I want him as my OC. And he brings that college flavor that I'm looking for too. So, yeah, I would definitely want Cliff Kingsbury in the building.
And I was thinking about it. The chance exists that we miss out on the top class of rookie quarterbacks. Yep. And also maybe Justin Fields maybe their asking price is too high because it sounds like Atlanta might be trying to throw him that number 8 pick. Yeah. I don't know if that's just I'm not giving up a number. I'm not giving up a first rounder for Justin Fields. But that brings me to another guy that I think might work if Kingsbury did come to us. Would you guys give up that first round pick for, say, Kyler Murray?
No.
First round pick? First round pick? Oh no, and man. So I like Kingsbury. I've been talking about Kingsbury for a while. I think, matter of fact, Wasted did like a live about OCs like some months back, and I brought up Kingsbury. And much like Mike, you said, having a guy that actually has head coaching experience in the NFL, still relatively young, can relate to players,
Yeah.
you know, is a quarterback whisperer, and you know, and has that just that college flavor. I think we
Yeah.
need that, and I think, you know, like you said, he did wonders with Kyler Murray. But the drawback to Kyler Murray is he's already been paid. So the advantages of having a rookie quarterback is that you get that's part of the reason I want Justin Fields, outside of the fact that Justin Fields is not a good player. You also have to make a decision on Justin Fields on his 5th-year option, and then you have to pay him. Like the whole benefit of getting and he's still not a proven commodity. Why am I going to give up draft capital for a guy that's going to have a 5th-year option we have to pick up that's going to be more expensive than what he's getting paid already, and then we have to pay him potentially again after that, and he's still not proven. When I could just draft a younger guy and have all this time to develop him, and if he's no good, hey, you know what? He's no good. We let him go. We get another guy, you know, later in the draft, or we get another guy through free agency.
You know what? I'm sick of your negativity, and I need to bring in another smart football mind to offset your bullshit. Welcome, Pharaoh.
What's going on,
man?
Hey,
What's going on, man?
Hey, what's good? What's good, man? I know everybody excited about the hire, man, except for one guy.
Yeah.
I
know. He still wish Josh McDaniels was there, man.
Yeah, man. I keep it real.
Man.
I keep it real. I'm gonna give after tonight. I'm gonna give AP the same coach, the same support I gave every coach except Lane Kiffin and Dennis Allen. Those are the only 2 coaches I did not give any support to at all. Every other coach I support to the fullest. But tonight, I'm about to go scorched earth. So yeah.
Hey, you ain't playing games, bro. Man.
So we were kind of getting into before you came in. I'm sure you heard a little bit. We were getting into kind of our quarterback and OC situation, and I posed the question. Well, first, I need to get your opinion on Severe over here talking about Justin Fields is flat out not a good football player. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, hey, Severe is not a Justin Fields guy. I in my opinion, I think there's still hope. There's something there. You know what I mean? I think
I'm with you, bro.
If he goes to a different situation, a different offensive coordinator, you know what I mean? Look at Lamar Jackson. I mean, like early on in his career, he wasn't as developed as a passer as he is now. Like I feel like he's gotten better as a player, but he needed a guy like a lot of people don't like him, but Greg Roman does well with like running quarterbacks early on in their career.
Hell yeah.
It just gets old after a while.
Yeah.
I think he needs someone to create an offense, a creative offensive coordinator, because hey, it should tell you a lot that the Bears fired the offensive coordinator Lou Getsy after like one season. So that tells you like they weren't happy with his play calling. If you're not happy with the play calling, then that means a guy like Justin Fields should be given another shot. I mean, he's a young quarterback. He's still on a rookie deal, but I guess when you have a number 1 pick,
how many offensive coordinators had? How many people is Justin Fields gonna get fired before we say, no, what, this dude just ain't no good, bro?
How many people do we need Derek Carr get fired? God damn it!
When's the last time the Bears
dudes fired left and right? I posed this question on a live with Pharaoh. On live with Pharaoh, me and Pharaoh did. How many high drafted quarterbacks whose first team giving up on them have gone elsewhere and had success? Like, when was the last time this has happened? Tell me a time within the past 20 years.
Jim Plunkett?
And tell me a time in the last 20 years that a quarterback in the first round
you added
flamed out with his first weapon.
You added 20 years.
So 20 years. What was it last time in 20 years? What?
Well, but you can go. If you want to go back, if you want to go back to like Steve Young, I think somebody brought up Steve Young. Tampa Bay gave up on Steve Young earlier, but Steve Young was coming from the USFL, so it was like a completely different situation.
Is it worse?
What happened?
That's a harder situation to come back from. You ain't even in the league.
But that was a different time too, man.
Yeah, different time. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He was coming from USFL to Tampa Bay, and he kind of flamed out with Tampa Bay. So it's kind of like, you can kind of see why he flamed out with Tampa Bay, and then Tampa Bay wanted to draft Vinny Testaverde, so they traded him to the 49ers, and then he sat for years behind who was once the greatest quarterback of all time, and then he kind of got a chance. But since then, when has that happened again?
Baker Mayfield.
Ooh, got you.
You could argue and say
Come
Jared
on, man.
Goff too.
Come on, but Jared Goff went to the Super
Yo,
Bowl.
come on, did you not see
Jared
Baker
Goff went to the Super Bowl.
But
Baker
But
Mayfield won.
he had the all-star roster. Stop.
Baker Mayfield won playoff games. He went to the playoffs.
They were done with him when they let him go. He was done.
But
Rams were
won
done with
playoff
Goff
games.
too.
Yeah, they were done with Goff. But the Rams ended up winning the Super Bowl afterwards, so
Oh,
you
you
can't
got
kind of
it.
get mad at that though. Can't get
Yeah,
mad at
everybody
that.
was
You can't
looking
get
at
You
mad
want to
Goff
move the
and
goalposts?
Mayfield as
You want
trash.
to do some here.
Yeah.
Weapon.
You want to move the goalposts.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
but have either one of those guys become Jared Goff became franchise quarterback, but he went to a Super Bowl before that though. He went to a Super Bowl before that. He was
because of his squad.
But he went to a Super Bowl. So like he went to
He
a
was
Super
the reason
Bowl.
they didn't win.
Goff is now a
The
top 10
Patriots
quarterback
defense
in
was
his
the reason
league,
they
whether
won.
you like it or not.
Weapon?
But when he went to Detroit, he was considered a bridge guy.
Exactly.
We were even talking about it last year that the Lions are a quarterback away. Now it's a completely different narrative with the Lions. Now Goff is the guy over there, hands down, right? That's kind of what we're talking about. And I guess the point is you got to put the right person in the right situation. So and I think that Justin Fields isn't in the right situation, bro. Like I think if we put him in the right situation, he can do well with us with the right coordinator. Now we got to see who our coordinator is.
I got just a situation for him.
Oh, here we go.
Backup quarterback. Hear me out. I got.
I don't agree, man. I think when you're in the NFL, pro sports, I feel like the talent level they're pretty similar. It's just the right situation. Imagine I know this is basketball, but imagine if Kobe Bryant was drafted to the Hornets. You know what I mean? Like you would have a totally different career. Still might have been a great player.
He's still been great.
But he probably wouldn't have been as recognized, maybe not one of as many championships, scoring titles. My point is that like Justin Fields just needs the right offensive coordinator. I agree with Big Mike Rader, the right situation. So I think
you know what? I feel the same way about Jamarcus Russell, man. If Jamarcus Russell had just got another offensive coordinator,
Jamarcus Russell was garbage, bro.
If he just went to another team,
I agree with
that. I agree. Come on, man.
Jamarcus
you could argue that and say that you could argue and say that if somebody actually held his ass accountable 100%, maybe he would have been a lot better. You could argue and say that he had the talent.
Yeah, the talent was never the question. It was just a matter of he was just an immature player going to a dysfunctional Raiders team where they didn't hold people accountable. Like they just let people do whatever they wanted to do. And he admitted that. He admitted that I think that interview he had with Pivot. He
didn't admit that. He blamed it. Well, he blamed everything on the Raiders for not he didn't take any accountability.
Yeah,
but my point is that those are two solid examples. I think that Jared Goff is a better example but Jared Goff had I want to say Jared Goff was an all-pro quarterback before
all pro.
One good season.
No, he had multiple.
I gotta look. He was slinging a rock with the Rams for a second, bro.
Now he had multiple good seasons, but Jared Goff's problems were in the playoffs. Bro. Jared Goff's problems were in the playoffs.
It's true. He only had 3 points in the
playoffs.
Bowl.
He was through the regular season. He was killing. He just the playoffs. He couldn't get him over the hump.
Yeah, I mean
exactly, and that was the thing with Jared Goff is the fact that is like his reputation.
Sorry, too.
Yeah, his reputation was like kind of like an Alex Smith, kind of like he's good but not good enough. So they needed someone to replace him. Here comes Matthew Stafford. Everybody kind of thinks Jared Goff is just whatever, but he kind of developed into that guy where he's a top 10 guy now. Like he's one of the best quarterbacks. But to be honest with you, I you know what? This is kind of random off top of my dome, but do you guys feel like the quarterback play is down compared to years past?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Tom Brady was saying it.
Man,
you're looking at a guy like Matthew Stafford, and you see him right now, and you say, man, this dude is a top 5, gunslinger, spinner of the ball in the league right now.
Yep.
Now, would you have said that maybe 4 years ago? Hell no, I don't think I would have said that. I would have said maybe top 10. There were people back in the day, I'm even gonna put myself out there myself, that I was comparing Stafford to Derek Carr. I was completely wrong about that, but it was almost on the same trajectory, like two quarterbacks on a bad team, and the narrative was like if If they had better pieces around him, things would be better.
It's true
Now,
for money.
Derek Carr has proven that is not the case with him. But, Stafford has proven that he is better than advertised for sure.
They just fired
5
their
years
offensive
ago.
coordinator.
I mean,
Sean McVay helps too. I'm not
They
gonna
just
lie.
fired their offensive coordinator. They're doing the same thing. They blame everything.
Be real with you, Peter
Yeah.
Carmichael was supposed to get fired a year. I don't know why they kept him. Like they were complaining about him. But
They just fired the offensive coordinator.
that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, man, the quarterback play is so down, man. Like the standard is so low. Like if you think
I don't
about
think
the top
I don't
five,
think the standard is low. I think defenses have gotten better. I think defenses have caught up, and I think there's going to be it
They've
goes in
caught up.
cycles. Like watch, there's going to be a cycle right now where teams, because all the linebackers are like 230, 35 pounds, 240 pounds. So it's going to be teams that they're going to start running the rock, pounding the rock, and those are going to be some of the more successful teams in the league. And then we're going to go into a cycle where we start beefing up. It's just like when we had the small receiver thing. We had all these like big receivers. So then we're like, damn, we got to get these big cornerbacks. So then like smaller receivers started dominating the league. And now it's like, we're going through the cycle where we're starting to find those smaller corners again.
I agree.
Also, I think we all grew up around the time where we were spoiled with the golden age of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And those days are over. We grew up with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady,
Drew Brees,
Phillip Rivers, as much as I hate his ass. It was just it was just a slew of elite quarterbacks. Your whole top 10 was elite.
You know what though? Did you ever consider Rivers great though?
It's so hard because he had such a lack of success in the playoffs. He was season great multiple years.
Yeah,
he was Jared Goff.
He was a couple of playoff wins away from having that greatness title put on him. Now, he went out there with a torn ACL against the Patriots, and if he would have won that game against the Patriots with a torn ACL, he'd be a damn legend.
Donovan McNabb was another one around that time who was right on the cusp or right over the elite level.
Mike Vick was another guy.
Aaron Rodgers was
a guy that I will compare. And now their games are completely different, but just in terms of where their career is going and trajectory of how things are kind of going career-wise, Josh Allen kind of reminds me of what Phillip Rivers is right now today. Like what Josh Allen is today, what Phillip Rivers was maybe 10, 15 years ago. I know what
you're doing. You're not comparing their skill set. You're
comparing not their skill set, not at all. It's like night and day between the two.
Career. You're talking about
their career. Getting right there, being successful in the regular season, getting right there. And this weekend will tell the story a little bit more or less, right? Because they got to play the Chiefs. And if he doesn't get over that Chiefs hump, just like Phillip Rivers didn't get over that Patriots hump, now we're looking at Josh Allen being that guy who's like, hey, he's good. He has a great career. But, man, once he gets to the big show, he can't get it done. So that's what I compare it to, because their games are night and day. I'm not comparing the games.
No. I feel you on that.
Raiders Primos with the fucking elbow drop off the top rope. Answer that question, Severe.
Hire Matt Nagy, who was coming off developing Patrick Mahomes and going to a Super Bowl and winning it.
Matt Nagy should have never. He shouldn't have got any credit for any of that.
He was offensive coordinator for a Super Bowl team, who was the guy that was a lot of people credited for developing Patrick Mahomes and turning him instantly into one of the top quarterbacks.
They could have put me at OC over at Kansas City, man.
Was he calling plays?
It wasn't Matt Nagy.
That's why they hired him.
It's the offensive coordinator for the Commanders last season.
But Matt
Nagy was the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs.
Yeah, when they won before Bieniemy.
Before Bieniemy plays the whole time.
I mean, the people said the same thing about Bieniemy. I mean, but Matt Nagy was a guy. So when your head coach is the play caller, your job, you basically become a pseudo quarterbacks coach. Your job is basically coordinating the passing game and then getting the quarterbacks ready when your head coach is the play caller. So they hired Matt Nagy because of what he did with Patrick Mahomes, and then now people want to move the goalposts, and then he had him, so let me ask you this: what advantages does Jordan Love have over Justin Fields?
He can sling.
Who has better weapons? Justin Fields has better weapons
than who?
He's been in the league longer.
I didn't hear the question.
Who I said people. So look at what Jordan Love has done. Right. This is my point. Look at what Jordan Love has done in
better.
1 year. Huh?
Jordan Love's better.
But that's not what people said in the beginning of the year. That's not what people said
I
at the
don't
beginning of
think
the year.
that necessarily Jordan Love is better than him.
He's a better passer by a mile right now.
I'm gonna shut this all down. When have the Chicago Bears developed a franchise QB?
I said that last show. Ever.
Okay.
Night and day. They know what they're doing over there. They know what they're doing.
When Mike Ditka was the tight end for the Bears back in the day, that was probably the last time.
Let me ask you guys this.
Whatever year that was.
Yeah.
When was the last time the Raiders have developed a franchise quarterback?
That's a fact. Derek Carr
developed one.
So let's start now. Let's go get Justin Fields.
Bro, it's not.
Hey, we treated and paid Derek Carr as such. So technically,
you guys seen that
Derek
meme,
Carr,
you're
bro.
not that guy. You're not that guy, buddy. You're not that guy.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You're not that guy.
It's been a while, man. We've actually never.
Jake the Snake was the last guy, a second round pick, Jake the Snake, and we took a first round pick that year. We took Eldridge Dickey that year, and we couldn't develop him at quarterback. I think we moved him to wide receiver, and then Jake the Snake was
Daryl LaMonica.
Hey, y'all not gonna like this answer, but Derek Carr.
It's been
Derek Carr.
longer than it should
He was
be.
with the Raiders for 9 years. You look at him statistically; they're pretty good. Now, is he a great quarterback? No.
Derek Carr, the greatest quarterback in Bears history with his numbers.
Bro, but that's the thing, bro. Those are not. People always bring up to see that. That's what I hate about stats. People bring up stats, right? Like we all watched that. We all watched the NFC Championship. Well, not the NFC Championship. We all watched the game between the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys, right? Dak Prescott put up 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had like a 90 passer rating. So you look at the stats, like, man, Dak was balling. Yeah. You saw the game, and he was not good in that game.
At all.
And that's what people do with Derek Carr. Derek Carr puts up all these fluff stats, and the people at the end of the year is like, oh, look at all these numbers Derek Carr puts up. He's such a good player.
Though that wasn't the case. Before he broke his leg, that wasn't the case.
But he broke his leg like his 3rd year in the league. Like, man,
hey,
it's like
look, Severe. You're look. That would make you what you're saying would make sense if we're calling Derek Carr a great quarterback. We're not calling Derek Carr a great quarterback.
You're saying in comparison to
he's an okay, solid quarterback, but franchise, you can probably say that because he's been with the franchise for 9 years. I know as a Raider fan, our standards are probably low because we haven't seen a great quarterback in a long time. But
Derek Carr.
Go ahead.
Derek Carr really benefited from 1 year, one great year, and that kept him around for a very long time because everybody was like, we've seen what he can do in 2016. Maybe he brings that back. Maybe it's coming back. And he's shown signs from time to time that he can do that. And that's what we held on to. Last week he was 22 and 25 for 300 yards. He might go on a streak. He might go back. He might be back. And like next game, he stinks it up. That's what Derek Carr was. And then that was the reason why he was our franchise guy. Technically, you can say that Derek Carr was our franchise guy. The only one we've ever had as far as bringing him up because we gave him the biggest leash that you could ever think of. Anybody on any other team would be like, nah, you got to go.
See, the problem with the Raiders is that the fact is the reason why he played so long is because the Raiders had other problems. They had problems with the front office, problems with ownership. Like they had no type of infrastructure. They're just now kind of building it right now. But we still got to see it though, because we hear Mark Davis say, "Oh, I'm going to hire a vice president of football operations. I'm gonna hire a GM," but we still haven't seen it yet. But that's what the Raiders have been going through for the last 20 plus years since Al Davis has died. So I think it's kind of Derek Carr, his situation, the Raiders situation. That's kind of a completely different situation. But going back to what you originally asked, you said Justin Fields and Jordan Love. Come on, the bro, he was sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. Come on, man, you're learning from a great. Imagine waking up every day and you're seeing a great player. Who is Justin Fields learning from?
Was Jordan Love learning from a great? Did Aaron Rodgers take him under his wing and teach him?
Didn't need to. He watched what Aaron Rodgers.
You didn't have to. Imagine just going to your job and seeing a great player do what he did.
That's not the same, bro. It's not, bro. It's not. Just watching somebody do something is not the same as actively learning from them. And
so maybe he could have done more, but still, just being there and watching how that man works every single day is gonna help.
I will agree. I will agree. There are some, but that's my point. Like, you don't have to learn how to have good work ethic from somebody that has good work ethic. Like, that's not. Now, there's a situation where, hey, you know what? We're gonna sit down. We're gonna I'm gonna show you how to break down film. Like, that's the thing. Like, hey, you know what? That's a benefit. But just, hey, this guy works really hard. Like, sometimes you learn that through osmosis. But if a guy's not coming, actually bring you in.
Maybe they weren't best friends, but I guarantee you Aaron Rodgers spent some time with Jordan Love.
I think what it really comes down to is continuity. That's really what it comes down to. Now, I think if Justin Fields had some continuity, you'll see a little bit different situation. I think he needs the right coordinator with some continuity, and I think he's better than Jordan Love. To be honest with you, I think he's better.
Chicago's offensive line this year.
I don't think so. I mean, I said when Jordan Love came out of Utah, I said he was going to be a stud. And then the first 6 games of the season, I was like, "Yo, let me."
You made him look. He didn't make him look good.
People was hitting me up like, "Oh, what's up with your boy?" Because I told people like, "Man, Jordan Love. When Jordan Love gets in the game, bro, like, because he's one of the best throwers of the ball. Like, his arm talent is like off the charts, top 5 arm talent in the league." So I was like telling people before the year, like, watch when Jordan Love gets in the game. He about to do some crazy stuff. And then people was hitting me up like, "What's up with your boy Jordan Love? Huh? You talking all that?" and now he's kind of showing that. But my point is that as a thrower of the football, he's like light years ahead of Justin. It's not even close. But it's not even close.
But just because you're leaving out a lot. See, Jordan Love was able to sit behind a great Aaron Rodgers. However way you want to weigh that as being important, I think that's huge. On top of that, he's been in the same system for the last 4 years. And hey, I ain't gonna lie, their head coach, he's a good offensive line coach. Yeah, man, good play caller. He's running circles around the defense from last game. He was calling some. He called a game.
Yeah, against Dallas.
Yeah.
My point is that there's always going to be that situation where there's the chicken or the egg, right? Is it that Jordan Love didn't have good offensive coordinators, or is it that Justin Fields didn't have good offensive coordinators, or does Justin Fields just make good offensive coordinators look bad? Like there's always that situation. Or if he would have had this, like we do the same thing with Derek Carr. Like, he went through all these head coaches. We went through all these head coaches because we weren't winning. We weren't winning partially because Derek Carr wasn't playing well enough for us to win. So like it's always gonna be that chicken and egg argument you can have where, if you would have had this, well, if you would have played better, you would have had all of these things.
And you know what? You got a good point, man. You got a good point.
Yeah, he has a good point about Derek Carr, because at the end of the day, the results are the results. But like, we see it time and time again. Like, every time we see a quarterback that's playing great or a quarterback that's not playing as great, we always look at like, oh man, like, he's going through a lot of different head coaches, a lot of different offensive coordinators. And let's be honest, what offensive coordinator, and I'm not trying to be over here trying to defend Derek Carr, but what offensive coordinator has been successful since under Derek Carr? Like, I don't know. Has he played with an elite play caller? I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, Josh McDaniels is the only guy, and we've seen what he did with and without Derek Carr. So let's not use him as an example. But I'm just saying, like, you gotta take it into perspective. Like, at the end of the day, like, the guys that coached Derek Carr, they are not coaching any other. Are they coaching Greg Olsen?
Are you going to man? Anybody who's touched Derek Carr as far as like trying to build him into a quarterback, any offensive coordinator, they have never seen offensive coordinator again after that.
There's one guy,
Bill Musgrave.
Nope. Our guy, Derek Carr's guy, the guy, he got the job, as a matter of fact. And then he immediately got him fired. Derek Carr advocated for Todd Downing to get that job. This was why we didn't let Bill Musgrave come back. And then Derek Carr, know what Derek Carr did? Derek Carr did a Josh Jacobs. In the contract year, Derek Carr blew up. That was 2016. He got paid, came back, laid an egg. And then the same thing he did the last year with Gruden. Had a crazy good year. I think he did last year with Gruden was better than the year he had in 2016.
That 2021 season.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah, that Gruden / Bisaccia year. I'm gonna say that was low key a better year.
Yeah, 4,600 yards that year.
Yeah, and then he got paid the very next year. Not the same guy. So it's
I'd argue 2020. I thought 2020.
Oh yeah, maybe it's 2020.
2020.
I think it was at 2020.
Maybe it was 2020. Maybe it was 2020.
2021 was the year they went to the playoffs, which
he was trash that year.
No, he was killing.
He was solid. He was whatever.
I just think about the last few games where it was Josh Jacobs carrying.
It was Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
He tried to pull the season away.
But yeah, man, I'm annoying Justin Fields, bro. Only Fields I want is those cookies at the mall. Them things is bomb. But
those peanut butter squares, bro.
Other than that, I'm good.
Man, I know what you're talking about, bro.
Man.
Nah, but you know what? Look, at the end of the day, like if Justin Fields could probably be trash, who knows? But I'm just saying, like, there's still enough talent there where he can go to the right situation and ball out. Like he can go. I don't know where he can go right at this point, but I'm just saying, like, there's still enough there. Atlanta, but then who's going to be the offensive coordinator? That's what I'm saying. Like,
who's going to be the head coach? Had they hired a coach yet? They ain't hired a coach yet.
It's built.
It just sounded like Belichick, to be honest.
If it's Jim Harbaugh, because they're
Harbaugh too. They both got 2 interviews.
There you go.
So let's look like this though. But so like this. Who was the well? It's not a fair comparison, but who was the offensive coordinator for Justin Herbert?
Kellen Moore.
Before Moore.
It was the offensive coordinator from the Saints under Sean Payton. What's his name? I didn't even like him like that too because he liked to dink and dunk. Man, he was the offense. I know, but he was the offense coordinator under Sean Payton.
Okay, so we don't got to know the name. We don't got to know the name. Was there any question at all whether or not Justin Herbert is a franchise quarterback that you can build your franchise around?
That's debatable.
I don't think. I mean, I think around. I mean, maybe amongst fans, but in league circles, people were already saying he was like a top 10 guy already. And we were mad about that because we're like, what has he done to earn that distinction? But in league circles, people were like, he's a top 10 guy. He's
a slightly better Derek Carr.
Yeah, well, yeah. But so I'm saying like we can't keep making these excuses. But my point still remains is that even if you think Justin Fields can turn into a good quarterback, there are quarterbacks in this draft that I think can turn into good quarterbacks, that I think can turn into better quarterbacks. We'll have them cheaper or longer, and they're younger.
If we can get one of the top ones. I mean, that's where I'd rather go first. But I'm saying I don't think we're going to be able to get there. I don't think we're going to want to give up what we're going to have to give up to get there. And I think if you're you might as well just give up the farm and go all the way and get one of the top 2. And I don't think that they're going to want to do that. So I do think it's more likely that we do make a trade for a Justin Fields, or we go sign a Russell Wilson, or even as early as today, Davante Adams gave the blessing for Kirk Cousins.
That I don't want.
Not my top choice, but I think it's more likely that we do one of those.
Here's the thing, man. What we got to really condition ourselves to do is if we're going to say fuck these picks, we got to say fuck these picks on all counts. We're saying fuck these picks to just move up to number 1.
Yeah.
We can still get a guy like Jaden Daniels at 6, trade with the Giants and move up and not necessarily, give up as much. I don't care. I still saying fuck these picks.
Yeah.
I don't really care if we move up and give up a couple of pieces in the draft, a first round pick to get a Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
At some point you got to make a risk to get the guy you want.
Yeah.
Now if one doesn't fall through like a Caleb Williams, if Caleb Williams doesn't fall through, you still got to try and move up and get another guy like a Jaden Daniels. That's plan B to me. Plan A would be to move up 100% to go get it, go all out and get a Caleb Williams, but you still have to hold that same philosophy if you're gonna, if that doesn't go through. You still got to go and try to move up and get your guy regardless.
I don't think getting to number 1 is going to be possible. I just don't think it's possible. There's too many teams that want quarterbacks that's going to be willing to trade up if that number 1 is going to be up for grabs, because this is, like you said, a lot of teams want quarterbacks. This quarterback heavy draft. You got the Caleb Williams, all that, right? I think that it will be possible if they can get to number 3 or 4. Now, if somehow, some way, I think the Patriots, they're in a.
I think we're getting a 3. I don't think we're getting 3. The 3 of the Patriots.
But what I'm saying is the Patriots, yeah, they can easily go quarterback, but they're in rebuild mode. If we offer them, the deal,
number of picks,
yeah, they're going to be willing to take that. Also, Arizona, I think they'll be willing to deal as well.
I think that's where it all starts. But
number 3, I think number 3 is a sneaky little spot right there, especially if, like, let's say, Caleb Williams goes 1, Drake May goes number 2 to the Commanders, Jayden Daniels right there, man. I think it's possible, man. They're already connecting the dots. You heard Devontae in that little podcast. He said, out of all the young quarterbacks, he pointed out Jayden Daniels is a guy that he wants to play with. So kind of seen
me and you, bro, we're like kind of on the same path of how to make things happen, right? Like, I think that you can still do the same thing and trade at 6. Now you're gonna have to do a lot of vetting and a lot of questions with the guys that are in front. Like, hey, what are you guys looking at? Are you looking for a quarterback? You got to ask a lot of questions. And sometimes they'll keep the cards close to them for whatever reason, but you could still very well at number 6 with the Giants trade with the Giants and get Jayden Daniels. I mean, I don't think that. Now, if you look at a 4 like Cardinals, Cardinals is going for a tackle,
2
or 3 or 4, but it is risky. It is risky.
It's going to be a draft day.
Man.
Ed Dodge, Champ Kelly, whoever got to have the cojones to be like, look at his draft board, see how the draft unfold. Once you see the 2 quarterbacks go off the board, number 3 comes, you better be talking to the Patriots, talking about throwing all types of combination of deals.
I agree with you, man. Like when it's all said and done, you're right, man. When it's all said and done, get the guy you want and do what you got to do to get the guy you want.
Right.
So you're right.
I think this is the time to do it. I think in Raiders fans' minds, Antonio Pierce can do no wrong. He can literally piss on their leg and tell them it's raining, and they'll be like, "Damn, it's raining outside." And but
that only lasts for so long, bro. It only lasts for so long.
But that's why you got to do it now. That's why if you're gonna do like this franchise altering move, you make that move now while you still got all of the fan momentum behind you, and you make that move. Like Jayden Daniels, he's on some draft boards, he's moving up past May. May had a really good year the season before this season, and he kind of fell backwards this last year. Jayden Daniels is the opposite. Jayden Daniels is moving in the opposite direction. He's getting better. Now he's a little bit older as well, but he's also way more mobile. He did it in a much tougher conference. And he's used to throwing to NFL receivers, and they run some like NFL concepts down there in LSU. Yeah. Over there, if you watch what Tape Don't Lie. He's like Mark John was over there saying some what I was saying. Basically, I have Jayden Daniels QB1. Mark and Marcus Johnson was kind of saying the same thing. Like Jayden Daniels looking like QB1 to me.
Quick question. Do you think not Caleb Williams, Drake May's stock is dropping? Do you think he drops?
I think Drake May might. I think Drake May may drop. Drake May may drop. But see that number 3 spot, because there's going to be a team, right? Whether it's either New England or it's the Cardinals. The best player in this draft is Marvin Harrison Jr. Regardless, so somebody's going to get him. He's going to go top 5. Somebody's going to get him in the top 5.
I got him going 1.
And he could go 1 if Chicago is going to make the same mistake 2 years in a row and not draft the quarterback to replace Justin Fields.
Just put it this way. let's put it this way. You kind of going full circle with Justin Fields. Say they decide to stay with Justin Fields. You go number 1 and you pick a Marvin Harrison Jr. And then at number 9, you pick that tight end from Georgia. Now all of a sudden, bro,
Brock Bowers?
you got one of the
Bowers?
Brock Bowers. Say you got Brock Bowers and Marvin Harrison Jr. on your offense.
They got Cole Kmet though. They got Cole Kmet.
2 tight end set, bro. Why not? Why you can run 12 personnel all day?
That'd be nasty. Yeah.
You know,
ain't nobody blocking.
Any more Marvin Harrison?
I mean,
whoo.
Yeah. I mean, you hit free agency with the offensive line or whatever, bro. The Bears they finished off pretty decently, man. You go from that team being a non-playoff team to competing in the NFC North in 1 year. Just offensively.
Justin Fields plays bad again. They're blaming the offensive coordinator.
At that point, if he's still bad, then that's Justin Fields' problem.
Over. Marvin Harrison was a rookie and Bowers was a rookie. What you wanted to do?
When's the last time though? Like, it doesn't happen too often where the number 1 pick is not a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, quarterback is a valuable position, especially going into this draft. Everybody's talking about the quarterbacks, how this is the best quarterback class in how many years. So it's the likelihood of quarterbacks going up the first 3 picks is going to be pretty high. I'm not sure if Marvin Harrison is going to go number 1. If he does, that'd be crazy.
You know what this year reminds me of? I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but that 2006 year when Reggie Bush was coming out and everybody was saying that Reggie Bush was going to the Texans. It was a locked deal that Reggie Bush was 100% going to the Texans. He was the number 1 pick, and then they picked Mario Williams.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's never out of the question in the NFL sometimes. Sometimes, yeah. Wait, Mario Williams passed?
Did Mario Williams pass?
I don't know.
I don't even put that. I don't even want to put that in the universe, man.
I know Mario. I know Mario Henderson passed.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Mario, if he's still around, man, our mistake, our apologies.
My bad. Yeah, let's act like that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
I want to say Mario Henderson passed. The guy that used to play for us. The guy that was offensive lineman for us. He passed.
Mario Williams is still alive.
Yeah, but I say Mario.
I was like, wait a second. But hey, it's one of those things where everybody was like, Caleb Williams is a lock at 1. Man, Mario Williams, if you somehow come across this video, man, we apologize.
You're gonna be going to Mario Williams IG, like leave it rest in peace. Like Mario Williams.
But you know what though? That draft, like just this. I'm trying to remember the quarterbacks from the 2006 draft. Then you took it all the way back.
I don't remember that year.
There was no quarterbacks.
There's no lot of quarterbacks though. There's no lot of quarterbacks.
So that's what I'm saying. We can't compare it to that year just because it's just too many quarterbacks coming out this year, man. It's too many teams want to draft a quarterback.
So you know what? I put it like this. This is more like, damn, I can't remember the year. This was the year that with my man from Cleveland, Miles Garrett. It's more like this year, right? Because Deshaun Watson was coming out that year. Lamar Jackson was coming out that year. Pat Mahomes came out that year. Then Mitch Trubisky came out that year. I think and Miles Garrett still ended up because he was universally the best quarterback in that best non-quarterback player in that draft. He still went 1. And I think Chicago traded up from like 3 to 2 just to draft Trubisky. And he was we know what happened with that. The last North Carolina quarterback drafted in the first round, by the way.
Oof. Yep, you're right. That was a 17 season too.
But it's still different, bro. It's still different because think about it. Just going into this draft, there's a lot of time, so a lot of things could happen till now and then. The combine, we know how it goes. But I'm just saying, like right now, Caleb Williams is people can make an argument that he's the best player in the draft. Yeah, if someone can make that argument, even if you don't believe for it to be true, that means that most likely a quarterback is going to go in the first few picks. Like,
yeah. Hey, y'all. Hey, I got to get rolling, man. But hey, great talk, great discussion, man. You guys keep it up, man. I gotta take care of some stuff in the house. I gotta check in with Shieldmore too. So
okay, for sure. Do your thing, brother.
Do your thing, bro.
All right, y'all. I'll catch you guys.
All right,
All right, peace.
But yeah, man. I I think it's a different situation, like you said, kind of with Marvin Harrison being a pass rushers. Generally, quarterbacks and pass rushers are going to go number one. Though the quarterback and the guy that affects the quarterback, I think Marvin Harrison, he's he's Calvin Johnson, bro. He's like the most can't miss prospect at that position since Calvin Johnson. And he has the pedigree, he has the size, he has the speed. He's done it at the collegiate level. He's a Heisman Trophy finalist. Like I think he has everything that you look for in that position. And I think it's a situation where if Chicago decides, you know what, Justin Fields is our guy, they're still going to probably put up the pick for auction just to see what they can get. And if they can't get what they want, they might end up going with Marvin Harrison.
But to keep it real with you, usually the best player is like a non-quarterback position. It's just the value of a quarterback is always at a premium. It's always high. So like, you know they're going to pick. You just know teams are going to pick a quarterback. It's just because they value it so high. Even though the best player, I agree, is Marvin Harris. Even you can argue last year, Jalen Carter, best player in the draft. He went number 9. You know what I'm saying? So
but that was that he should have went 7. He should have went 7, but I won't go there.
Should have went 7.
But I think he would
take that.
But he was projected number 1, but I think his workout and then that the off the field stuff is what pushed him back. I think that's what really hurt him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I know you guys had a head start as far as like the conversation about like AP getting hired.
Yeah,
man, I think it's huge that they were able to make that move, especially with all these big name candidates. The one thing I will say is that like I thought it was weird that they didn't interview any other head coaches.
Yeah, it would have felt a little better if they did their due diligence.
Yeah, and that's all we heard from Mark Davis.
Yeah, it just seems like they knew.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the problem I have with Mark Davis is that he's too easily influenced, in my opinion. Whether that be through the players or through the fans, I think fans and players have an inordinate amount of influence on what Mark Davis does. Like 2 weeks before he fired Josh McDaniels, he was telling fans to smarten up. All of a sudden, people are hitting him with signs, and the players say they don't like the guy. Then he's gone. And now he's like, the whole time, I'm going to do my due diligence. We're going to go through the process. I'm going to hire this. I'm going to hire a GM before I even hire a head coach. And then, we got the hashtag hire AP stuff going. And then Max threatens to ask for a trade. Next thing we know, AP's hired. So it's like, bro, like, are you going to run this thing or are you not going to run this thing? It's
you can make an argument that Mark should have never fired Josh McDaniels. He should have waited until after the season to fire him because the Raiders wouldn't have won enough games and they would have got a pick most likely in the top 10, top 5. And then you're setting up the next head coach, AKA whoever, Jim Harbaugh, whoever the big name coach to come in. Because if you think about it, I was looking at a lot of lists about the top vacancies for a head coach. And the Raiders weren't up there. They were like in the bottom of the top 10. Like number 1 was probably the Chargers because they already have a quarterback in place. And then number 2, like I seen Falcons was one because ownership is willing to give the coach GM responsibilities and all that type of stuff. But hey, I was thinking about it, I was like, man, you know what? But at the same time, we got AP as a head coach. Like everybody's kind of like feeling good right now. And I think
right now.
And
so,
so
it could be one of the situations where if this could be either a catalyst. This is like a tipping point where we either like, everything broke the right way in the off season where all these big name head coaches are being hired and they're available. The greatest coach of all time. You got a guy that won the AFC, that had the best record in the AFC twice, former coach of the year, had a guy that had success at every head coaching stop he's ever been at, in Jim Harbaugh. And we didn't even speak to any of those guys, and we hired a linebackers coach that had no coordinator experience at all. It could be more like, later on down the line, we look like geniuses, but if this thing don't work, oh man, if this thing do not work, and I agree with you on the Josh McDaniels. And this is one of the things I said. I was like, you know what, Josh McDaniels is not the right guy, but it's not always about that, right? There's other things you have to consider when you're firing a coach. Because when you want to look for another prospective head coach, these people have families, and these people want stability. So if you bring a guy in, you give him a 5 or 6 year deal, and you fire him a year and a quarter into that deal, now he has to move his family somewhere, try to find another job. Like
I
I'm
don't
telling
hear
you,
that. His contract is guaranteed, bro. His contract is
but he
guaranteed.
has to move his family somewhere. You know, he has to move his family somewhere. If he wants to get another job, he still wants to work in the league.
If I was making that money, I don't think I'd give a shit about having to move to a new
He's
place.
good, bro.
That's if you don't want to coach again. If you want to get back to coaching again because you know you want to get back out there, you want to redeem yourself. These people are looking at this coaching prospect. That's one of the things people are looking at. Agents are looking at that. Like, look, if I bring my client here, are they going to get a realistic shot to do a good job, or if they're going to get fired at the first sign that they're not the right guy? And now the firing he wasn't the right guy. He proved that in Denver. He proved that again with us. But I'm telling you, the optics of that stuff matters. That stuff matters. It's like, perfect example. Like this is a little bit of a morbid example. But let's say like you're married, and you and your wife are having problems, and then she gets and you guys are going to get divorced, and then she gets cancer. She's in the hospital. Should you serve her those papers in the hospital, even though you're going to get divorced anyway, or should you wait to a better time?
That is a morbid example, sir.
That's a morbid example, but I'm saying timing matters. So even though that the decision may have been made, the timing and the optics of those things matter, right?
They call him Severe Raider for a reason.
God damn.
But that's my point. The timing and the optics matter.
Oh,
You know,
Severe Raider, man. Hey,
the perception is reality, man. Perception is reality.
No. That's why I was so shocked by Mark Davis firing him. Like, I was like, damn, like he fired him a little bit too early. Like, at least let us like establish like if we lose out, if we don't make the playoffs, all right, let the young players come in. What a lot of teams do, and then they kind of get a high draft pick. Which, hey, the quarterback, if you're going to pick a team that needs a quarterback, the Raiders are like probably one of the top teams. I mean, you could say that for a lot of different teams in the top 10, but I think the Raiders, they definitely need a young franchise QB. So, but that being said, AP is now the head coach. Yeah. Now, the next move, which I'm surprised that this is the next move, is to hire a GM. Like, I'm like,
yeah.
I
thought they did that.
Yeah. I thought the GM was gonna come first. That's what Mark Davis said.
That's what he said.
Do things differently. I need to do things differently. I need to get me a GM so he could be a part of the process.
That's where I think Samir's probably right. I think Mark was so impacted by the fans and the players that he knew that's the one move he had to make. So he got that out of the way. He didn't want to risk a GM coming in making a different decision. So he made the decision that whatever GM comes in, this is your coach.
Yeah.
No, 100% facts, because it's not even just the players in the locker room. It's the former players too, the alumni, the players currently, the fans. It just like, come on, man. Like, this is why it's so important for a guy like Mark Davis, because Severe also says all the time, Mark Davis is a fan. It's like everybody else. He's just a fan. But Mark Davis, he's the type of owner, he needs that buffer. Like, he needs like an actual guy that he respects to basically make all the football decisions, meaning hiring the head coach. There has to be, because right now he's too close. He's too close to that locker room. He's too close to making these big time decisions. It's like, come on, man. Was AP really the guy? We may never know, because he never even attempted to interview a Jim Harbaugh. Because look, I made a funny tweet the other day, but it was true. It was about how, the Chargers pretty much were interviewing all of the head coach candidates that were connected to the Raiders.
And the Raiders never interviewed none of them.
None of them.
That's crazy. Raiders didn't interview none of them.
Look, Jim Harbaugh, what's the guy, Shaw? David Shaw? Remember David Shaw? Obviously, I think they hired Vrabel I think that was a rumor that was hot lately. Was a lot of people were kind of mad because Tom Brady was coming in, maybe influencing Mark Davis and making
brought in AP.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
So
interviewed everybody that we were, and I thought the one guy for sure besides AP was going to be Harbaugh. I was like, there's no chance that Harbaugh is doing the rounds and he doesn't end up in Vegas at some point. Same as last time. I don't think he interviewed with us last time either.
Yeah, but then I will say this, like they probably do reach out to agents and stuff like that, and the agents probably can keep it real with them and tell them like exactly what look. If Harbaugh goes back to Michigan, then it don't even matter. You know what I mean? Because that's pretty much telling us that like at the end of the day, like he's probably using the Raiders to gain leverage and contract extensions with Michigan. Yeah, basically. But yeah, man. But then another big time decision is OC. Who's gonna be that OC, man?
Yeah, it was looking like Kingsbury was gonna end up being the dude, but then he took the interview with the Bears. Now it's like that makes too much sense.
It's kind of a mix because like I get the Cliff Kingsbury connection. That basically means that we're gonna draft a young QB in the draft. Like it's guaranteed. If you get a coordinator like that, it just makes too much sense. But then at the same time, does he work in the NFL? Some people kind of question his type of offense. Does it work in the NFL?
He had 2 offenses with the Cardinals.
Yeah, but then like when you have a guy like Michael Mayer and you want to run the ball as well, I don't know if them players kind of like you have Michael Mayer and he doesn't really use tight ends in his offense. I felt like tight end was a position that's forgotten in the offense with the Cardinals. I mean, they did make a trade for that tight end from the Eagles, but
didn't they have Zach Ertz though? I thought they had Zach Ertz. I thought Zach
later on, but
Trey McBride started balling towards the end of this year.
Yeah, but I'm not talent. I'm just saying in the offense while Kingsbury was there, like where they were players.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Zach Ertz did okay there, but he wasn't Philly.
Yeah. I mean, but can he be adaptable to that? I think he can be. And Michael Mayer is a guy who I think we can do some things with, like much. I mean, I don't want to. Him who shall not be named did with Gronk, where Gronk would be split out wide, and he would throw Gronk in the slot. I think Mayer has the ability to do those kind of things. I think if you give a guy like Cliff Kingsbury a weapon like Michael Mayer, I think he can make some things happen and find ways to get a guy like that the ball. I think that's the most important thing is can you find ways to put the ball in your best player's hands? I think he can do that.
I would be impressed if Pierce really just was like, all right, let me go into that Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, or let me go into that Sean McVay coaching tree. If we could get some type of coach from under that coaching tree, I wouldn't be mad at that. To me, that'd be pretty smart in my opinion.
The Rams dropped their OC, didn't they?
Okay.
Didn't the Rams just drop their OC?
They fired him?
I thought so. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I don't know.
I feel like I read that.
I mean, a guy I was talking about before, I've been bringing up the first guy I brought up after we lost to the Steelers, and I brought up Ben Johnson as a potential head coaching candidate, and then his name became hot. Then I brought up Bobby Slowick as a candidate, and his name became hot. And another guy I brought up before is Gerard Johnson. I brought up Gerard Johnson as a guy who could potentially be a offensive coordinator. He may not get any looks this year. I think Slowick will get a lot of the credit, deservedly so. But Gerard Johnson is the quarterback's coach there. He's a guy that played Texas. I want to say he played at Texas A&M. Was a damn good player there. I want to say he's second all time in yards behind Manziel. So he was a good player there. And he went to the league. I don't think he ever caught on with the roster, but he's been a guy that's worked with Mike Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan in the past. I want to say he even worked with the Packers for a little while, if I believe, if I'm correct. But now he's in Houston with D'Amico and working under Bobby Slowick. So he's a guy that, if we want to go very young at coordinator, he's a guy that could be a name.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, whoever that OC is gonna be, he's gonna have to be able to develop a quarterback. Like, I want that in his background, meaning that if we get a young guy, then he's a former QB coach in a top offense. Like I mentioned, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. I feel like you can't go wrong with that. Or you go experience. You go experience. You find an experience, a guy that's been a head coach, didn't cut it out as head coach. I mean, in a different universe, Josh McDaniels would have been a
It'd
nice
been
little.
perfect,
It
man.
would
It
have
would
been
have been
perfect. But
perfect.
but in this universe, hell to the nah. Like we not doing that. I think it's gonna be I think some people have mentioned Frank Wright might be a guy that you could probably see possibly as an offensive coordinator, not as a head coach.
Oh, I know.
Well, of course not. Of course
How
not
old is
now. Of course not now. We already got that.
And
Frank
we
is-
don't have to worry about the one thing about going after experienced coordinators that didn't cut it out as head coach, but they're good as coordinators. We don't have to worry that they'll leave after 1 year.
Yeah.
So that's very good in the development of a quarterback because if you get like that young guy, there's a chance that he's gonna leave after 1 year, and then that kind of
Like-
messes up the development of the quarterback, especially because
Like
we know
Slowick.
that. Yep, like Slowick for sure. Facts. Yeah.
Man,
Okay.
I think Cliff Kingsbury is the perfect choice, man. You want a guy he has experience as a head coach, so he can kind of AP can kind of rely on some of his experience. He has experience at the college level, so he's kind of up to date. That's where like the college football is like the laboratory for NFL offenses. Like that's where they like do all the crazy stuff. They try all this weird stuff, and if it works there, it's like okay, maybe it'll work in the NFL if we tweak it a little bit. And he's a guy that has had success down there, has some success in the league, still young enough to relate to the players. He's had success developing quarterbacks. I think he's an ideal choice. I think and he's not a guy that even if he has success his first year, people are going to still look at his time with the Cardinals and like, you know what, he's gonna need like 2 or 3 more years showing us before we consider him a head coach again.
And you know what too? That OC hire, it gotta be a home run because Ted Nugent of the Athletic, like he made a good point. Like if he does if AP misses on the OC, that's gonna be his downfall. He's a
Oh.
defensive minded coach, doesn't have a lot of experience, and it's gonna be easy out. Like you can't offense is terrible again under like
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough for him to recover if he can't find a good OC because they're gonna be drafting a QB. That's a big time decision. Like you can't mess that up. So we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, man, hey man, it's a lot to be excited about when it comes to the Raiders, bro.
Absolutely. It's like one of the moments where there's the most to talk about. Like I haven't been this excited, and the energy hasn't been this good around Raider Nation heading into an off season in a long time.
I would say that I think that Devontae Adams offseason was pretty exciting. Like
Oh, yeah.
Once we got him, yeah. But like when the season ended and we were heading into the off season, like we
Yeah.
just missed the playoffs and we're all like, let's go.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's weird because most times we miss the playoffs. It's been happened so much in the last 20 years or so. Every year it's like, oh no, shit,
Yeah.
it's not gonna get any better.
Right.
There's a light. There's a light at the end of the tunnel right now that everybody's seeing at the same time. And Raider Nation hasn't been a cohesive fan base in a long time where everybody's together and it feels like it's going that way. I mean, there's some people that wanted Harbaugh, whatever, but I think everybody for the most part is on board right now with what's going on.
Yeah. Even if people didn't agree with AP, they understand it.
Yeah.
And I think they'll support it. And that's why I think that's, even though like it kind of contradict what Farrell said a little bit, I think AP doesn't have to get the OC right. If he wants to be successful, he does. But if he gets the OC wrong, people will just blame the OC. They will not blame Antonio. I'm telling you, Antonio Pierce is bulletproof with Raider Nation.
For now.
Almost nothing he can do.
Even though I don't completely agree, I don't completely disagree with you.
Yeah.
What I do agree with you is that like I think AP has a way longer leash because I feel like everybody's excited about him, but the excitement is more about the potential. It's not about the fact that like the expectations is high. Our expectation is really not as high as it was with, let's say, Josh McDaniels because he came in. I'm this top offensive guru. I got Derek Carr. I got Devontae Adams. I just extended Darren Waller, Hunter Renfro. We're gonna have this top offense. We didn't have this top passing offense.
Yeah.
We actually relied on Josh Jacobs to be like basically the best back in the NFL that year. And then the year after that, we seen what happened this last year. Like, terrible. We're one of the worst offenses we've seen in a while coming out of the Raiders, and we've seen some terrible offenses. And so the expectations, I don't think is going to be as high. I think we're going to have expectations to a certain extent, but like we're going to be more patient with it. I feel where you're coming from. I feel like we're going to be more patient with AP for sure.
Way more patient.
Do y'all expect playoffs this year?
No.
What?
That's too early, bro.
Depends on who we get a quarterback.
So I don't know, but I expect the playoffs this year. We have top 10 defense. I expect we're going to add pieces to that defense. Oh, and I expect our offense to be improved. And I think just that would be enough to have gotten us in this year. We finished 8-9, 2 wins. We would have been right there. We would have been on it right, either making it or not making it. It would have been falling. It would have came up to different scenarios. Yeah. But I think we're not far away. I think if AP would have started this season and we had the energy we had going towards the end of the year and the defense was playing that way, we probably could have got there this year. Mm-hmm. But I think you improve this defense slightly and you get the offense from, what were we, 28th, 29th overall? Mm-hmm. Get them inside the top 20, and I think we're in there.
So I'm not expecting the playoffs because I think, like I said, I'm giving Antonio Pierce. That's what I say. I don't want to rush to judgment on him because I think he's going to have a tough year next year. I think we're going to play a fairly tough schedule because we finished second in the AFC West, so we're going to be playing basically the second place teams in those divisions. And then you got to think about the Bengals are coming back with Joe Burrow. He's going to be healthy, even though they're losing T. Higgins. They still got Jamar Chase. They still got Tyler Boyd. So he's coming back. Weapon.
We played the NFC South.
Is that Oh man, we play Derek Carr. That should be. Well, they the NFC South is been hit or miss. Been hit or miss. Right. It's pretty weak. But it depends on we'll see what Atlanta does. We'll see if the Saints make a good hire at OC. We'll see what Tampa does with Baker Mayfield. But then like you think about the Bengals are going to be better. The Colts are going to likely be better because they got Anthony Richardson back. Houston is not going nowhere. And they should. I think they have a bunch of money too to play with in free agency. So they for damn sure ain't going nowhere. Even though they don't got no draft picks. So those are 3 teams right there going to be better. We expect the Chargers to be better now that they got rid of their horrible coach. They may not be good, but they're going to be better. They're just a poorly coached team with very talented roster.
They're going to lose a lot.
Houston might take they're a young team. They might. If they lose Slowick as a head coach, which can easily happen, and I think a perfect spot for him to go to would be the Panthers, especially for the quarterback out there. He needs something over there, some type of stability, and I think he could. The what he did for Stroud, he can do for my guy. I don't know. I forgot his name. The quarterback out of Alabama.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. I think he could help him out because what happened this year was terrible. And if they put some pieces around them, get some stability. But my point is, look, like it could happen. I want to see the offseason because, like you said, I'm excited, but at the same time, I want to see what is this coaching staff going to be, because that's going to be the huge thing for AP. Because AP, as the reason why we're excited about him is how he can galvanize that locker room, how he can get everybody all on the same page, playing hard, but at the same time, he's not the X's and O's guy. Hopefully Patrick Graham comes back. Hopefully that OC hire is a home run, and then he just brings back all the right pieces back and makes a pretty good staff around him. I think it can work. And then you got to think of, all right, how do we get better? O-line needs to get better. D-line, is this going to be the offseason that we finally kind of add a real piece at the D-tackle position? Do we target a Chris Jones? You know what I mean? Is that going to be the big splash guy, or do we target a number one corner? Because some can argue that we don't have one on the roster. I mean, maybe you can.
I don't think we do.
You know, some people might say project Jack Jones. Like, man, Jack Jones could be that guy, but
he'd be an improvement over going into the season with Marcus Peters this year.
Yeah, Jack Jones is a high level too. He's a high level too.
He still got like 2-3 years before he could hit that number one corner mark, and he's got a ways to go. But I mean, we go out, we grab a Jalen Johnson. Maybe you can pull. If you can make 2 splashes on the defense, I think you're pretty good. If you can do something big at D tackle and corner, or even if you bring in another like a high end corner in the draft in the first couple rounds, and you pair them up with the depth we have at corner now, and you're able to bring back guys like Amik and all that, and keep the depth we have, and then you have the improvements from guys like Jacorian Bennett. I feel like he'll get better. You know, and I feel like just our depth, and you add a high end corner in the second, third round. I feel like you don't need to have a number one corner. I feel like you just continue the rotation, and it worked this year. Our corners were playing.
Yeah,
and if they look, and that's one of the positives of bringing back the some of the people in the building back, because when you bring back AP, most likely a Champ Kelly's going to be coming back. So most likely the same scouts are going to be coming back. So they know what the weak spots on this roster is. When you bring a brand new coaching staff, there is kind of a little bit of like, we don't know what this player is. We're going to have to rely 100% on film. You say that again?
And that's why they go clear out the roster.
Yep.
They get rid of the old regime's guys, bring in their guys, start from the bottom up.
And it's kind of like it's kind of like bittersweet, because when they do that, there's going to be some players where where you'll look at and be like, they could have kept him. Like, you know what I mean? There's some guys that kind of slip through the cracks because they don't really know that player. And we kind of could say the Ziegler and McDaniels kind of made some mistakes in clearing out some guys. Like, we should have kept that fullback that went to the Dolphins. You know what I mean? Like,
Ingold,
we should have kept him, man. Like, he would have been perfect for McDaniels. I mean, he loves to run that I formation with the fullback. Like, at least you have a fullback that can receive the football. Like, it's just, anyways. But that's a whole different discussion for another day. But my point is that, like, the regime coming back, they'll be able to properly look at this team and see what they need, and they'll be able to like look at like, all right, we need a piece on our O line, right tackles, man. Other than Colton Miller, like that O line, a lot of those players on the O line could get replaced, and then you look at our D line, and then you could. They should be looking to extend Kuntz right now. Let's extend it, man. And if Champ Kelly's coming back, I'm sure he's thinking about it. I'm sure he's like, that'd be a smart move before he hits free agency. Like, it'd be a smart move to get him like under market value contract.
And then I'm hoping that John Jenkins still wants to play. They bring him back. Adam Butler, bring him back.
Yep.
And then you get a young nose tackle, and another guy that is a solid interior pass rusher. And I mean, the D line's ready to go.
But it's kind of like, it's tough because now, like, the Raiders are picking 13, and we just talked about how like they need to trade to that top 5, top 3, top 4 to get the quarterback that they want. But if they get to that spot, that they probably gave up like this year's first round pick as well as second round pick next year, and we're it's going to be tough. Like,
you got to hit hard in free agency. Then you got to bring in a Chris Jones and do something.
Yeah, if they're aggressive like that, then they're going to be aggressive in the draft.
Sure. We had a Chris Jones to his defensive line. Oh my God,
with Max Crosby and Kuntz on. Man, the way they were playing the way the defense was playing, man, I just hope Patrick Graham could come back. Just bring him back.
That was bigger to me than AP.
Oh, yes.
My main reason for really wanting AP was just the hope that Patrick Graham comes back with him.
Yes.
I don't remember the last time the Raiders had a top 10 defense. I'm just going to keep it real with you. I've never seen it.
Super Bowl year.
I will say this. When the Steelers hired Mike Tomlin, they kept Dick LeBeau. Dick LeBeau stayed. And even though like Mike Tomlin was an outside guy, he was a defensive backgrounded guy. When what's their old coach name? I forget. Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher left. You know, I think they interviewed Ryan Grimm. I want to say Grimm, Ron Rivera, Dick LeBeau wanted Chan Gailey. A lot of people thought, not Dick LeBeau. Bill Cowher said give the job to Chan Gailey. I think a lot of people around the league and in the organization had momentum behind Chan Gailey. And then Mike Tomlin came in. He was defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. He came in as a Rooney Rule guy, and then he just knocked the interview out of the park. And he came in, got the job, and Dick LeBeau stayed on. So it could be a situation where, you know what, we keep Patrick Graham. But I don't think Dick LeBeau had any, because Dick LeBeau was, even at that time, Dick LeBeau was old at that time. I don't think he had really any aspirations of being a head coach.
Dick
That
LeBeau's
is not
his last 20 years in the NFL.
Hey,
So Dick LeBeau was old for his last 20 years in the NFL.
man. So and
Well,
Patrick Graham's not the same. Patrick Graham, he obviously wants to be a head coach somewhere. Will he get it?
I will say this though, we do know one guy that's going to be on that coaching staff, and that's Marvin Lewis.
Yes.
So Marvin Lewis has already been connected to the Raiders coaching staff.
You're gonna be coaching
right
staff,
now.
or it's gonna be
They
on the staff?
haven't defined his role, but I'm thinking it's like either he's going to be some type of senior advisor assistant, or if Patrick Graham doesn't come back, defensive coordinator.
I mean, he was defensive coordinator at Arizona State, and that didn't go too well. That didn't go too well. But I mean, like he knows the league. I prefer him. Look, I said it before. This is a young man's game. Him there as an advisor to kind of be a mentor to Antonio Pierce. I think somebody else, another coach, did that in the past too, where they brought in what's the guy that was the quarterback coach forever with Peyton Manning? Forget his name. Older guy with glasses. Forget the guy's name. But I think
Arians.
No, it was somebody else. He was the court. It was he was with the coach forever. Dang, I can see him in my head. But I want to say, was it Adam Gase that had issues, and then he brought the guy in to kind of like to kind of help him to be like an advisor for him.
Frank Wright was the QB coach at one point.
No, I forgot the guy's name. He was an older guy. He might have been the offensive coordinator there. But Tom Moore, was it Tom Moore?
Yes.
Tom Moore. So I want to say somebody hired like Tom Moore to basically like be like they're like sideline advisor type of deal. And I can see Marvin Lewis being that kind of guy. Like, hey, you know what? This is the clock situation. What do I do right here? This is, hey, should I challenge this? That kind of filling that role. I don't want him having anything to do with like personnel, play calls, installations, none of that stuff. Just like game management, head coaching responsibility type stuff. I can see him doing that.
Got to take AP to clock management school.
Man.
Well, look. You said that Marvin Lewis wasn't good with Arizona, but he wasn't the defensive. Was he defensive coordinator?
Yeah, he's defensive coordinator for Arizona State. As a matter of fact, he was defensive coordinator.
I thought it was AP that it was defensive coordinator.
Maybe
AP was a defensive coordinator. Marvin Lewis.
No, AP. I want to say AP started there as linebackers coach, and then he got elevated the next year to defensive coordinator and assistant head coach.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Marvin, because
they were co-defensive coordinators the first year, and then I want to say the next year. I want to say they were co-defensive coordinators at one point. And I want to say AP started off as linebackers coach there, and then he got elevated to defensive coordinator and assistant head coach. I believe that's how it went. But they were co-defensive coordinators at one point. But Marvin Lewis and him, they were both defensive coordinators, which was, I guess, like that sounds like a plan waiting to fail.
Absolutely. Well, look, guys, we covered a lot of topics today. We brought in the new regime, AP.
Right.
We looked into the off-season forecast a little bit, see what we got coming. I'm sure we'll be back again soon, but I'm not gonna lie, I got off work right before this. I want to sit my ass down, get a meal, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But we're gonna be back, and it's gonna be a hell of an off-season, man. I can't wait. I'm excited. Free agency is only 6 weeks away.
Facts. The Senior Bowl starts up in a few weeks, right?
Yeah, it's gonna get rolling, man. It's gonna
Senior Bowl. A free agency is gonna be in March, I believe, early March, and then from there it's gonna be the draft.
Yeah. And then after that, we got that slow ass May to July bullshit.
Yeah, man.
Raider content creator's dream right there. You know, that slow
Man.
time right there is beautiful.
Yeah. But Pharaoh, man, thanks for coming in, man. You're more than welcome on
man.
my show. And
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate
what-
having me on.
together anytime. But that should be it for the day, you guys. I appreciate everybody who tuned in today. We'll be back on soon. Everybody have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you later.
Okay.